So this is the future site of my vegetable garden. Get an appreciation for the settlers, especially of this area. I forget the name of the road, but the road that comes through here, that was the original road for developing northern Ontario and Canada. It was a road that was established in this date, and it's been out of commission for a number of years. So the road now, and I looked at a couple of properties actually on that road, and we're just off of it, but the road kind of cuts through really thick bush. I don't know, I guess they kind of kept to the low areas back when they were building the road, so it's all through a lot of marshy areas and really rugged terrain. And as a result, it got abandoned over the years because it wasn't worth developing. More of the developments happened on the lakes and then kind of spread out from there. So this road that went right through the thick bush came through this kind of stuff. So you can imagine trying to create a farm on this kind of property. It's so rocky and hilly and acidic, really poor growing conditions. So I'm hacking it out of the thick bush here. This is the sunniest place on the property except for down along the creek and in the marsh, but it's actually too risky to put it down there because it's so wet in the spring that it wouldn't dry up. And last year it didn't dry up at all, but it wouldn't dry up typically until too late for planting season. So getting up on this higher ground, I'm going to need to spend more time watering, but the plants should survive or thrive. So what I need to do is enrich this soil. So next year what I'll do is start bringing in lots and lots of moose droppings on the property, which pretty unusual fertilizer. And actually there's enough moose droppings that I considered making the cob out of it, mixing it with the clay, and I might do that still. Anyway, I'll enrich the soil with that. Then I'll bring other types of compost probably in. So I'm thinking for at least another, I'm guessing 2 years, I'm gonna have to keep buying groceries from the outside. Especially, and I probably always will have to buy grain because I'm not gonna be able to build or grow enough on this little property in the thick bush. So I'll clear the site, grow vegetables. I can harvest my game and fish from the surrounding forests and fields and lakes, and get majority of my food from the land. This is going to be difficult to protect from wildlife, but Cali tends to keep most of it away from the cabin area, so I think it's going to be successful. So like I said, 2-year plan I'm thinking. Get this cleared now, and then in the spring I can probably just plant a smaller garden and try to enrich the soil, plant some stuff like clover that has deep roots, things that improve the soil on its own by fixing nitrogen. So I'll do a number of things like that and then look at a bunch of different permaculture principles that I can apply on this piece and then throughout the property. There's a few other somewhat sunny spots, and there's lots of raspberries and stuff. And then down in the meadow I might plant some things along the shoreline that I think can thrive down there. So that's the plan. This is the sunniest spot on the property. Other than that, like I said, clear out a few more trees. I've taken 2 and then 1 half dead one down so far. And it is like 2 o'clock right now, 2:30, September, what, 12th, 13th? And I'm surprised and impressed that the sun's actually still hitting this clearing. Our growing season is essentially over. It will be in the next week or two. We'll get a first frost soon, usually first week of October-ish. But in these highlands, often it can come in September as well. So I'd be harvesting typically right now the last of my stuff and then preserving it. So that's the plan. Now on the back here against the trees that I am going to leave up, I'll probably put some kind of building, maybe like a chicken coop or a quail coop or something like that, or just a garden shed. And I'll put permanent fixed solar panels on there that I can use as my charging station. I never plan on having much of a demand for electricity here. My plan has always been, and it's going to continue to be, to live as completely off-grid as possible with as little inputs as possible. So this year I will have to run a generator probably in the winter to power up that Goal Zero power bank. And I've got this little fridge now in in the cabin, but I'm going to try to use that as much as possible just as an ice box and not plug it in typically. And then in the winter, what I'll do is just keep freezing ice outside, bringing it in. I've planned on getting an ice house built this year, but it didn't happen. So that will be probably put off till next spring. I'll do a root cellar that will have an ice house section in it that will be completely underground facing north, which this slopes down pretty steeply to the north, so it never gets sun on it. And I'll build a separate area that's insulated, probably with like straw bales or something like that. And then store my ice in sawdust. I have access not too far from here. If I can bring my trailer over there and fill up with sawdust, I can fill that ice house pretty well. So that's the plan. Like I said, I'm happy with the sunshine here. I'll finish clearing this out, getting this wood down, and then get the wood shed built down there so I can store this year's wood and keep this stuff out to dry. So my wife's been a very good sport about this outhouse. She's like me actually, and finds that it's not bad in the winter or the summer. The winter, there's nothing to worry about as far as bugs and for her bears and stuff like that. And in the summer, the bugs don't seem to come in here. So even though I don't have battens on the outside yet, but with that mouse the other day, I kind of freaked her out. So she asked if I could make shelves here and put cabinet doors on that are mouse proof so that mice aren't going to pop out from nowhere. So by keeping this area clean, there's nowhere for them to hide. So of course they're going to come in here the odd time, but they're not going to hide out and then pop out when you're sitting here. And it's a good bit of storage for my tools until I get a workshop built. I have a leaning tree issue that I should have dealt with earlier, and I'm really becoming fully aware of it now that I'm getting ready to build the bathhouse over here. There's a tree behind me that's leaning sort of in this direction. I've always looked at it from different angles and thought it was, lined up to land like here somewhere. And I see now that the trunk comes up on different leans and different angles, so it kind of leans this way and then that way and then sort of that way. I'm looking closer to the top thinking that the tree's naturally going to fall in this direction and it's safe to fall, but I see now that if I was to cut that down close to the ground, that it's likely to fall actually onto the forest kitchen. So I need to get up maybe 6 feet to where there's a bend and where the tree starts leaning this way, so that there's enough of the mass above that's leaning in this direction, because I'm just wondering if there's that much more trunk with that weight leaning in that direction is going to influence the fall of the tree. So this is a challenge. So I need to figure out how exactly I'm going to fell this thing to make sure it lands right here, basically where the sauna is going, without destroying anything else. So I have to do that now before I put in the footings for this bathhouse. See if I can sort of cut it right around this height, which is what, 8 feet off the ground maybe. I can get this to fall right down the path between the kitchen, the cabin, and the outhouse. And this is just tall enough that if I cut it from the base, it would hit the outhouse if it falls to the right of those yellow birch trees that are standing there. Got another issue right now though, the wind picking up, and it's blowing from the east because we have a storm system coming in, or a rain system coming in for the next few days, cold front coming in. So on an unsettled weather pattern. So what I'll have to do probably is I'll go ahead and dig the footings and build the columns, the pillars for the bathhouse. So I'm going to do 4 corners, 10 feet, or 4 pillars 10 feet apart in a square, and then I'll build the log cabin on top of that. So this is not going to damage those if it falls in that direction. So I'll have to wait. Hopefully tomorrow or the following day I get more favorable winds. And it'd be awesome if I got some fairly strong winds blowing in this direction from the west, northwest. So put this off for another day and hope for the best. He looks sleepy. Can I have a nap while I do this? Did you hear? Squirrel? You want to take this one? Dig here. Dig right here. Here. Get this. Here. Dig it out. Dig it out. Want to dig? Well, that's the best digging I've had yet on this property. You almost use a post hole shovel on this one. The ground's soft, at least for the first foot. Lots of deep soil. Lots of nice rich soil here, but it's unlikely it's going to continue much further. Is that, yeah. Hopefully they're just small stones. The wood thrush. Or no, it was a chickadee actually. What do you think? Wish you could help, eh? So at least now I know what it looks like, and it doesn't look good. So I will not be leaving it, but it'll do for this fall at least. I think, like I said in a prior video, that's echoing like crazy, that metal. Like I said in the prior video, I think what I'll do is change this roof, raise this up, or take this apart, reuse the materials, and put a shed roof going that way. But I'll wait till spring to do that. I think this metal will be fine to protect this wood for this year. I left a little air gap between on this, like underneath here, between this and the 2x4, and then lots of air, 2.5 inches up underneath, and then more than that up here. So lots of cover, or lots of clearance, but it just doesn't fit with the look of the thing. The whole kitchen, that needs some work, but like I said, it's functional for this year. So I'll revisit the whole thing again in the spring. For now, Kelly, can you not do that, please? Yeah. Here, leave it. Thank you. So for this year, my urgent project is to get the first couple of rows at least of logs on the bathhouse, and whatever stonework I need to do for the fireplace, for the wood stove I'm using to heat the rocks that's creating the heat in the sauna. So that will be my priority before the snow flies in the next month and a half. And then I've got some more work to do inside, and then I can finish the sauna or the bathhouse over the course of the winter. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty good about being prepared for winter this year. Last year was such a panic because I didn't even have the roof on the cabin. But this year I feel pretty comfortable. I've got lots of firewood. I just have to keep bringing it in, keep stacking it into the wood shed, and get a metal roof on that wood shed. That's pretty well it for the majority of the projects. So spring next year will end up being the wood shop, the root cellar for sure, and then if I have time I'll get on to the guest house. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you up at the cabin next time. Take care.